and the Lord shall utter his voice before his army. For his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?
All right, I'm going to hop right into it, right? This brother Yashawan by YAHAWAH'S with YAHAWAH'S camp, right? I want to first off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah by Hashem Yahawah, right? So the Lord put it in my spirit to come out with this lesson real quick, right? It's something I've been meditating on, and Lord willing, brothers and sisters can learn something from it. So the name of the lesson is called Fear Not the Sentence of Death, right? So we just go into some precepts and go into some accounts, right? So we go hop right into it, right? So it's called Fear Not the Sentence of Death, which is based off one of my favorite precepts, right? And we go get right into it. So I'm going to go to the book of Sirach, chapter 41 and verse 3. We go start off in Sirach 41 and verse 3, right? So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 41 and verse 3. It says, Fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee, and that come after thee. So that's what we go do, right? We go to some of the accounts of, what happened to our forefathers and foremothers, right? Some of them had to put their life on the line for this truth, right? And some of them, they was given the sentence of death, right? It says, Fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee, and that come after thee. For this is the sentence of the Lord over all flesh. So we go into some of those accounts, right? So next, I'm going to go to 1 Maccabees chapter 2. So we go to 1 Maccabees chapter 2, and then we go read about some of those accounts, right? So we in 1 Maccabees chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 49. Right? So this is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 49. It says, Now when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, Now have pride and rebuke gotten strength in the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers, right? Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. And that go back to what we was reading in Sirach, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to go back to it real quick. Sirach 41 and 3, it says, Fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee, right? So it says, remember them that have been before thee. Just like in, I believe that's Romans 15 and 4, where he said the things that was written aforetime was written for our learning. So we supposed to learn from these accounts, right? So back in 1 Maccabees 2 and 51, it says, Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. So it's from the name off, some of our forefathers that was put in that position. It says, Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph in the time of his distress kept the commandment, and was made Lord of Egypt. Fine has our father and been zealous and fervent obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Jesus, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages, that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Right? So I'm going to go back to these two verses right here, verse 59 and 60, right? It says, Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. So we go into that account. That's gonna be the first account we go get into, right? And that's one of my favorites, right? So we go to that in the book of Daniel, and we go read that in the 3rd chapter. So remember, the title of the class is called "Fear Not the Sentence of Death," right? So we go read about some of the accounts that our forefathers was they was in a position to lose their life, right? But let's see exactly what they did and how they went about it. So we go to that in Daniel chapter 3. And like I said, this is one of my favorite accounts when it comes to this topic, right? Now I don't want to take too long, but I'm gonna read through most of the account to get, the proper understanding, right? So this is the book of Daniel chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 4. It says, "Then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up." So this was during the time of the Babylonian captivity, right? So Nebuchadnezzar the king, he put up this golden image, right? It says, "And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace," right? "Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews," right? "They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego." And when you read Daniel, the 1st chapter, 1 and 6, it tell you that that's talking about Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, right? Because during captivity, they always changed our names. Because Daniel, they changed his name. It tell you in Daniel, the 1st chapter, the Belshazzar, right? And then Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, their name was changed to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? It says, "These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods," right? So these brothers, they had understanding of the law. It says they serve not thy gods, because they knew in the law, right? Even when you read Exodus, the 20th chapter, the first commandment, the Lord said, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me," right? And you are not to bow down and worship the graven images. So, they even though they was in captivity under these other nations that was in power, they still understood that they had to keep the law of the Lord, right? So it says, "Nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Verse 13, it says, "Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king," right? Now it's finna get good, right? We finna get into this account. Remember, it said, "Fear not the sentence of death." So let's see exactly what these brothers did, right? It says, "Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. Now if ye be ready that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Right? So let's see what these brothers said, right? So this verse 16, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. So what does that mean, right? It says we are not careful to answer thee in this manner. So when they said that, they like, hey, look, we gonna tell you straight up, right? Hey, cause low key, he was prideful. Nebuchadnezzar, he said, and who is that God that can deliver you out of my hands? He said, I run the whole world. Babylon at that point in time was the top ruling kingdom on the earth, right? And Nebuchadnezzar, he ruled most of the world during that time, right? The Mesopotamian area, right? So he said, who is that God that's going to deliver you out of my hands? Don't you know I'm the most powerful king upon the face of the earth? If you don't do what I say, I'm the one that has the power to put you to death, man, right? But the brother said, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter, right? So they're like, hey, we gonna let you know straight up, right? It says, if it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, man, right? Hey, so he was like, who was that God? Hey, they was like, we gonna let you know, man. The God of the Israelites, man. He is the one that's able to deliver us out of your hands, right? It says, and he will deliver us out of thine hand. But listen to this part. This is one of the most important parts, right? So most people, they kind of skip past this, right? But like I said, this is something that I meditate on, right? So it says, he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But listen to this part. It says, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Right? So we got to look at this, right? We got to look at these brothers' character, right? This is something that we got to meditate on, right? And, you know, in the scriptures, like in Joshua 1:8, in the Psalm, you know, where it say that you got to meditate day and night, right? That's not just talking about the laws and commandments, right? Of course, that's the most important, but when you meditate, you want to envision these things, right? You don't want to just read through the Bible. And, you know, when I read, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but I always imagine what's going on. Like, I always imagine that I'm the one that's in that situation, right? So I'm like, damn, you know, look what these brothers did. What if that was me in that situation? What if that was you in that situation, right? See, and that's another thing, you know, why I wanted to bring this out, because even in today, you know, you ask a brother, hey, you ready to die for the Lord? Of course you know what the brother go say, man. He go be like, yeah, what kind of question is that? I'm ready to die right now for the Lord. Yeah, everybody say that, right? But these are things we got to meditate on, right? Because the brother said, our God is able to deliver us, but if not, you got to listen to that part. He said, if not, that means, of course, we know the Lord could deliver us, but even if he don't, we still not worshiping your gods, man. Right? Hey, think about that. So the brother, the Nebuchadnezzar told him, look, if you don't bow down and worship my gods, I'm going to put you in the midst of a burning fiery furnace, man. Right? So you got to think about that. You got to put yourself in these situations, right? Hey, what if you know, right now, these are things you got to think about right now. Brothers like, yeah, you know, I'll put my life on the line for the Lord right now. I'll die for the Lord right now, right? So right now, at this very moment, if Esau come and kick in my door right now and he snatched me up, and they put a bag over my head, throw me in the back of the van, right? And they take me to some secluded area in a damn concentration camp, right? And then they got a big ass furnace, man, right? And they say, hey, look, hey, if you don't eat this pork, right? If you don't, you know, if you don't forsake the name of the Lord, we go throw you in this furnace, right? Hey, what would you do at this very moment? Because everybody say, they'll die for the name of the Lord, but, you got to meditate on these things. Because that's easy for anybody to just say, right? But remember, the Lord said in 1 Samuel, 2 and 3, he said, hey, actions are weighed. So what would you really do? And these things you got to think about. You gotta really think about this. Are you willing to get put to death being burned alive? Hey, you got to think about these things. Getting burned alive. Right? Hey, some brothers don't even like getting... Hey, I had my water room and the water kind of got a little too hot. And I took my finger, I was like, damn, And that's just hot water. Imagine your whole body is being burned up by a damn fire, man. You in the midst of a fire, you can't get out, right? You can't stop, drop, and roll. Ain't nobody finna come out with no damn water hose and spray you down. You in the midst of a damn furnace and you getting burned alive. Hey, when you look at some of the worst ways to die, when you look it up, some of the worst ways to die is getting burned alive or getting frozen to death, right? Hey, if I had the choice, if somebody say, hey, you got two choices. You could get shot in the head or you could get burned alive. Hey, I'm taking that bullet to the head, man. Hey, because that's quick and simple. Right? If you had a choice between, getting burned alive or, getting your head chopped off by a guillotine, hey, most of the time you getting your head chopped off. Because that's quick and simple. Yeah, you go feel pain, but hey, it's going to be like that. It's like pulling a damn plug out, right? You going to be going in an instant. But imagine sitting there getting your skin consumed by flesh, man. Your flesh being consumed by fire, man, right? People talk about 30-degree burns, but imagine being burned alive, right? Hey, turn on your stove. Some people still might got them old school stoves that actually turn the fire on. Hey, and just wave your hand around the damn fire and see how hot that is. And imagine that whole fire consuming your whole body. Hey, that's a horrible death, man. Hey, and the brothers, they was willing to go through that. These are things you got to meditate on. Imagine somebody snatch you up right now and and they take you to a damn furnace, and you see them cut the furnace on, and all you see is flames, and you can feel the heat coming from the flames, right? And they say, hey, look, if you don't forsake this, the name of the Lord, hey, we go throw you in this furnace. And they bring you, hey, they snatch you up, and you this close, you about a few feet away from that furnace, man. What would you do right now at this instant? Everybody, yeah, I die for the name of the Lord. And you got to think about these things. What would you do at that instant? Hey, and if your answer is, hey, I might not go through with that, then you got to check yourself, man. Because like I said, anybody can say everything, but what's going to happen at that instant when it actually happened? Right? You got to think about that. Imagine getting burned alive. Because we go read about the accounts. Because we go read about what happened to these brothers, but it's not always going to end like that. And they was prepared even if it didn't end the way it ended. He said, hey, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods. He said, hey, the Lord could deliver us, but even if he don't deliver us, we still not worshiping your gods. If we go be burned alive, then that's what it's going to be. Right? So verse 19, it says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound, and their coats their hosen and their hats and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame out of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? It says, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace, right? Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto the counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see four men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God, right? I'm going to read down to verse 28. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their heads seen, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own, right? And that's a powerful account, right? Like I said, that's one of my favorite accounts. But the thing is, right, on this account, every account not the same. That's why we go into a few different accounts. See, these brothers, they trust in the Lord, and the Lord delivered them, right? But what we go find out is the Lord, he not going to deliver everybody. Just like we read in verse 18, it says, but if not, be it known, O king, that we will not serve thy gods. So those brothers, they was ready to get put to death, right? Hey, they said, hey, the Lord, he go deliver us, but even if he don't, we still rather get put to death than worship your gods. But when we go find out, everybody not going to be delivered. So let's read another account. So we going to go back to First Maccabees chapter 2, right? So this is the book of First Maccabees chapter 2, and I'm going to go to verse 59. It says, Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael by believing were saved out of the flame. And we just read about that, right? But this another account I want to read. It says, verse 60, Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. So now we go read about the account about Daniel when he was in the lion's den, right? So I'm going to go to, matter of fact, before we even get there, I want to bring something else out about the three holy children, right? About Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael. So I'm going to go to the three holy children, and I'm going to go to verse 1. It says, and they walked in the midst of the fire, praising God and blessing the Lord, right? Then Azarias stood up and prayed on this matter, and opening his mouth in the midst of the fire, right? So he went into his prayer. And I'm going to jump down to verse 66. It says, O Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, bless ye the Lord, praise and exalt him above all forever. For he hath delivered us from hell, and saved us from the hand of death, and delivered us out of the midst of the furnace and burning flame. Even out of the midst of the fire hath he delivered us, right? So like we just read, he delivered those brothers, right? But everybody not going to be delivered. So let's read that account about Daniel when he was in the lion's den, right? So I'm going to go to Daniel chapter 6. I'm going to go to Daniel 6, and I'm going to start at verse 16. Shalom, shalom, King. So this book of Daniel chapter 6 and verse 16. So we gonna read about another account, right? It says, then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions, right? So basically, you know, when you read Daniel, the 6th chapter, it's talking about, well, matter of fact, I should jump up. So I'm going to read a little bit up. I'm going to start at verse 7. I'll start at verse 7, right? It says, all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute, right? It says, and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions, right? So all throughout the scriptures, you know, these heathens, they was trying to put the Israelites that was in those lands in a position where they would be put to death, just like they did with Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, right? Because everybody bowed down and worshiped that golden image that Nebuchadnezzar had made. But hey, they went up to him. They was like, hey, these Jews, they don't want to get down with the program, so they got to be put to death. So this is the same thing they trying to do to Daniel. They trying to get him caught up. It says, now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, right? And it says, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open, and his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did aforetime. It says, then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. And then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, save thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. So this is something he couldn't change, right? It says, then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, now, it's like, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. So let's see what happened to Daniel during this account. Verse 16, it says, then the king commanded that they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee, right? And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel, right? It says, then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said unto Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God whom thou servest continually? able to deliver thee from the lions. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel, and have shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Right? So Daniel was delivered, but we gonna keep reading on a little bit, right? Yeah, we gonna read on. It says, verse 23, then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And that's the same thing that happened with the three holy children, right? It says, and the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them their children and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of any kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivered and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who have delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Right? So that's another account of the Lord delivering somebody that didn't fear the sentence of death, right? That put their trust in the Lord, right? So when you see these things, the Lord, when you read all these different accounts, you see that the Lord, he used different men for different situations, right? So in this account, he used Daniel to make an example, right? To magnify the name of the Lord. Because even these heathens, right? This is the king of the Persian and the Medes. He said, look, I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom, men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, which is the God of Israel. Right? So even these heathens seen the power of the God of Israel. Right? So that's just another account. So the three holy children and Daniel, they put their trust in the Lord, and the Lord delivered them from death. Right? But we go read some of these accounts, because not every single account is the same. Everybody wasn't delivered. Yeah, Daniel was delivered. The three holy children was delivered. But it's some of our forefathers and foremothers that actually got put to death. Right? So let's get into some more accounts, right? So now I'm gonna go to another account about Daniel. So that account, we was in Daniel, that was chapter 6 and verse 16 on down. But now we go get another account about Daniel. So we go to the Bull and the Dragon. So we go to Apocrypha, and we go to Bull and the Dragon. So we go see another time that the Lord delivered Daniel, right? Right? So we're going to go to Bull and the Dragon, and I'm going to start at verse 24. So this is another account about Daniel being in the lion's den. So this is the book of Bull and the Dragon. I'm going to start at verse 42. Salaki, I'm going to start at verse 24. So this verse 24, it says, and the king said unto Daniel, wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. And it's talking about the dragon, right? So they had made a idol called Baal, and basically Daniel showed the king that was a false idol, and that Baal had no power, and he doing the same thing with the dragon. It says, "Wilt thou also say that this is brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth and drinketh. Thou canst not say that he is no living God. Therefore worship him." Then said Daniel unto the king, "I will worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff." The king said, "I give thee leave." Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair and did sieve them together and made lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth. And so the dragon burst in sunder. Right? So just like the way that Daniel, he showed that Baal was no true and living God, he did the same thing with the dragon. Right? It says, "And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship." So Daniel, he's scoffing at him. He like, look, man, these are the gods that you worship. Wood and stone, right? But Daniel said, "I worship the true and living God." Right? Just like in Psalm, I believe that's 96:5, it says that the gods of the heathens are idols. Right? So verse 28, it says, "When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, The king is become a Jew, and he have destroyed Baal. He have slain the dragon and put the priest to death." So they came to the king and said, "Deliver us Daniel, or else we will destroy thee in thine house." Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, who cast him into the lions den, where he was 6 days. Right? So this is another account about Daniel being in the lion's den, right? And in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent they might devour Daniel. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl, and was going into the field for to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, "Go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den." Right? So the Lord finna send an angel to help deliver Daniel from the lion's den, right? It says, "And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is." Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, "O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God hath sent thee." And Daniel said, "Thou hast remembered me, O God, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee." So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Until the 7th day, the king went to bewail Daniel, and when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, "Great art thou, O Lord God of Daniel." That's the same thing he said in Daniel the 6th chapter, right? "And there is none other beside thee." And he drew him out and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face. So we reading through all these powerful accounts, right, about times that our forefathers was put in positions where they could have lost their life, right? But the Lord delivered them from that. So we go read a few more. So I'm gonna go to 2nd Maccabees And I'm going to go to chapter 6 and verse 1. Right? So we go read about some more accounts. Because in the accounts of Daniel, when you read about the 3 holy children and Daniel, they was delivered. But not everybody was delivered, right? And we go read about that. So this is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. Right? And now I'm gonna jump to verse 8. It says, moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Right? Then might a man have seen the present misery. Right? So basically during these times, during the Greek captivity, if you didn't get down with the ways of the Grecians, they'd put you to death, right? So we go read about what happened to some of our forefathers that actually had to get put to death. Because Daniel, he didn't get put to death at that time, right? Because the Lord delivered him from the lions. The 3 holy children at that point in time, they didn't get put to death because the Lord delivered them from the burning fiery furnace, right? But even though they didn't get put to death, they was in a position and they was in a mind state where even if they had to get put to death, they was mentally prepared for that. They was mentally, physically, and spiritually prepared to get put to death, right? Because remember back in Daniel, the 3rd chapter, they was like, our Lord will deliver us, but even if he don't, we still not worshiping your God. So, if you go put us to death, then that's what you go do, right? But let's read about this account. So I'm going to jump to verse 18 in 2 Maccabees. And I'm going to read throughout the chapter, right? So this 2 Maccabees 6 and 18, it says, and Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, right? And of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. And we all know in Leviticus, the 11th chapter, the Lord gave that law to the Israelites that you're not supposed to have swine's flesh, right? Because it's unclean to you. It's an abomination, right? Verse 19, but he choosing rather to die gloriously, that always brings a smile to my face when we read this, right? So remember back in Romans 15:4, he said the things that was written aforetime was written for our learning. So we supposed to learn from these things, right? This elder Eleazar, he finna lose his life. He finna get put to death, right? But it said, but he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment. That's powerful. It said he came to his own accord to the torment. So he ready for it. He like, look, if y'all go put me to death, that's what it's gonna be. I'm not finna eat this swine's flesh, right? I'm not finna go against the commandments of the Lord to please these damn heathens, man. So if they go put me to death, then that's what it's gonna be, right? As it behoved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things, as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. But they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision. Right? 2 such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king, that in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. But he began to consider discreetly, and as become his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, whereunto he was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by God. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straight ways to send him to the grave. For it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10, were now gone to a strange religion. So this was a elder man, right? Hey, this brother was an elder. It said he was 80 years old. So I think that's like I think a score is 20 years. So he like 90 years old, right? It says we're now gone to a strange religion. And so they, through mind hypocrisy and desire to live a little time and a moment longer, should be deceived by me. And I get a stain in my old age and make it abominable. So, the mind state that he was in, he was like, shoot, I'm 90 years old. I done spent all my life putting in this work for the Lord, keeping all the commandments. So you think I'm finna, all these years of my life, you think I'm finna just give all that up? Right? 90 years. Right? So this brother, he didn't fear death, right? He said, look, I ain't finna do all this, keep all these commandments, and then at the end, I'ma just give up and just give in with the ways of the heathen, right? Verse 26, it says, for though for the present time I shall be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Hey, that's powerful. Hey, he said, hey, we got to listen to that, man. He said, verse 26, he said, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Hey, matter of fact, let me get that in Susana. I think Susana says something like that. Right? So, for those who are not familiar with the history of Susana, basically it was two elder men that was kind of like stalking her, right? So they basically they was plotting on her. They was saying, look, they came up to her, they was like, hey, look, if you lay with us, either you lay with us or we go tell everybody that you was committing adultery, right? So let's see what she said. So this verse, I'm going to start at verse 19. This history of Susana, I'm going to start at verse 19. It says, now when the maids were gone forth, the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us and lie with us. Right? It says, if thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. Then Susana sighed and said, I am straitened on every side, for if I do this thing, it is death unto me, and if I do it not, I cannot escape your hand. So basically, on both sides, it was kind of, a lose-lose situation. She like, damn, if I don't, if I don't lay with him, then they go tell everybody that I committed adultery. But if I actually lay with him, even though everybody might not know, the Lord go know, right? So let's see what she said. It says, it is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. Hey, that's powerful, man. And matter of fact, hey, I'm gonna go to another one of my favorite precepts. I'm gonna go to Matthew 10:28. So let's see why Susana and why the elder Eleazar said that, right? Hey, they said, look, we rather go through the punishments of man than actually break the laws of the Lord, right? So let's go to I'm gonna go to Matthew 10:28. This is one of my favorite precepts, right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 28. It says, and fear not them which kill the body, right? But are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him, which is the Lord, which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell, right? So that's who we go fear. It says, fear not them which can kill the body and not the soul, but you got to fear the Lord, which can destroy your soul and your body, man. Right? And that's the understanding that Eleazar had, right? That's the understanding that the sister Susana had, right? So we go finish reading this off in 2 Maccabees about Eleazar. It says, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Wherefore now, manfully changing this life, I will show myself such an one as mine age requireth. Right? So he said, look, hey, I'm going to show myself as one my age requireth. Shoot, I'm finna be up out of here anyway. The brother, hey, I think the brother, he said he was 90 years old. Right? So he like, look, I ain't got much to live anyway. You think I done lived this long life, right? Keeping the commandments and I'm just gonna give up. Nah, you might as well put me to death, right? Right? It says, and leave a notable example. Hey, this is powerful. Verse 28, it says, and leave a notable example, right? What is an example? Example is like, look, I'm going to do this so for the generations to come, they can learn from what I did and they can have, what's the word I'm looking for? They can have faith, right? They can be like, damn, that was a powerful act that, our forefather did. I can do the same thing. And that goes back to the topic back in Sirach 41. It says, fear not the senses of death and remember them that have been before thee. So this is exactly what we doing when we read through these accounts. We remembering our forefathers that was before us, right? So we got to remember Daniel. We got to remember the three holy children. We got to remember the elder Eleazar, right? It says, verse 28, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly. Hey, this out cold, man. And he said, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly. So we supposed to learn from this, man. Because some of us gonna have to die willingly, man. Right? Because even though Daniel and the three holy children, they weren't put to death in those situations, they were still ready to die willingly. Right? Even though they didn't actually have to die at that point in time. Because the Lord delivered them. But the Lord not going to deliver everybody at this point in time. Right? And leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment. They that led him, changing the good will, they bear him a little before into hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought from a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto the Lord that hath the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten. But in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a notable courage. So the elder, he left his death for a notable courage, man. And a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation. Hey, and that's powerful, man. Right? So that was another account, and we go read through a couple more. Cause I don't want to take too long, but we go read through a couple more. So now we go, a matter of fact, we go jump to the next chapter and see another account where our forefathers' lives was on the line for keeping the laws and commandments of the Lord, right? So I'm gonna read through Second Maccabees chapter 7. But I don't want to read the whole account. So I'm gonna just breeze through it. So this Second Maccabees, this is the next chapter. And most people are familiar with this, right? The Second Maccabees chapter 7. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh. So here we go again with, the heathens trying to force us to eat swine's flesh, right? But let's see what these young brothers did, right? It says, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, what wouldest thou ask to learn of us? We are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. Hey, that's powerful, man, right? He said, we are ready to die rather than transgress the law of our fathers, right? And that go back to, matter of fact, let me bring this out. I'm going to go to 1 Maccabees 3:21. This is another one of my favorites, right? This 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 21. It says, but we fight for our lives and our laws, right? It says, but we fight for our lives and our laws, right? So you got to fight for these laws, man, even if you got to give up your life, right? And that's why the Lord in these last days, he put the spirit in certain men, right? Because just think about it. Back in the world, a lot of us, before we came in this truth, we was ready to lose our lives over something simple. How many brothers out there that's in the truth right now, they was ready to lose their life over a damn drug deal, man. They was ready to lose their life over a damn dice game. They was ready to lose their life over a woman. You was willing to give up your life, putting your life on the line, trying to break in somebody's house, trying to break in somebody's car, right? But now we actually have something to die for that's meaningful, right? If you would have put your life on the line back in the world for stupid things like that, how much more would you put your life on the line for the Lord, right? So it says we fight for our lives and our laws, right? So we gonna go back to 2 Maccabees 7, right? He said, we are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. So like I said, these are the things we got to meditate on, right? It said we are ready to die. How many of y'all are ready to die right now? Because everybody will say that. They be, yeah, I die for the Lord right now. What kind of question is that? Oh, for real? Like I said, imagine you wherever you at right now, imagine this. Somebody kicking your damn door right now and put a gun in your head, right? They snatch your kids up. They snatch your wife up. They say, look, you gonna do what we say and you gonna transgress the laws of the Lord. Or it's gonna be, hey, your kids, they getting put to death. Your wife getting put to death. You getting put to death. How many of y'all actually go through with it right now? I'm talking about right now. Because these are things you gotta get ready for. If you're not ready for it right now, hey, that's cool. You still got a little time left, right? But you need to get ready for this, right? Because because these are the times that's coming to the earth. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith this Bible, right? So it says, then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith, being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first. So they put him through torture. Hey, they cut the brother tongue out, man. Right? And to cut off the utmost parts of his body. The rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. So hey, he got his brothers and his mother looking at, they watching this happen. Right? Imagine watching this happen. Your brothers, man. Like I said, imagine somebody kicking your damn door right now and snatch your whole family up. Esau enforce martial law right now, and the damn government come in your house right now and snatch your kids up, snatch your wife up. And they put in your, they say, hey, are you gonna denounce the name of the Lord? And you kind of say, yeah, no, I ain't gonna do that. Hey, and they snatch up your kids. Hey, they snatch up your little baby girl. And they start torturing her right in front of your face. Then what you gonna do? Right? Hey, you know how Esau get down, man. Esau the damn devil. Hey, this man's sick and twisted, man. Hey, if he gotta torture your kids, if he gotta torture your wife, right, just to get to you, hey, that's what he go do. Esau's no holds bars. Whatever he go do, whatever he gotta do, he go do that. Right? So you got to be mentally prepared for the things that's coming to the earth, man. Right? So verse 5, it says, now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, the Lord God looketh upon us, and in truth have comforted in us. So like it have comfort in us, right? As Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead after this manner, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? But he answered in his own language and said, no. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life. Right? After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Insomuch that the thing and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. Right? Now when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So they just going in order. They just killing them off, right? Torturing every brother, going from the oldest to the youngest. Just killing them, torturing them. Right? And like I said, hey, most jakes today, if they see somebody being tortured in their face and they know they next in line, hey, most of y'all, they're like, ah, damn. Did you see what happened to so-and-so? Hey, ain't no way I'm going through that. Hey, he cut his tongue out. Hey, they ain't finna cut my tongue out. I ain't going through that. Hey, that's what Jake go say. That's what most of Jake's go say. The same brother that's sitting here talking about, yeah, I die for the Lord right now. Hey, most of them, they gonna be the same ones that be like, oh, hell no. Hey, you see him get his head chopped off? Hey, no, yeah, I ain't doing that. Hey, I thought I could do it, but I ain't doing that. Hey, and if that's your spirit, man, hey, you got a lot of work to do, man. Hey, we all got a lot of work to do, right? Because like I said, these are things that's coming to the earth. So whether you prepare for it or not, this was going to happen. It says, so when, Salakia, verse 14. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good, being put to death by men. Hey, we got to listen to this part right here. Verse 14, it says, so when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good, being put to death by men, to look for hope from God, to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Afterward, they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men, thou art corruptible, thou doest what thou wilt, yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. Damn. After him also they brought forth the sixth, who being ready to die said, be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our God. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt escape unpunished. Right? So that's something we got to think about, man. Right? In these times, we got to give up our lives for the Lord. Right? Because it don't matter what Esau do to us in the flesh, and we already know what's going to happen to Esau, man. Everybody read the book of Obadiah. Hey, Esau finished. Hey, in Revelation 12:12, it said the devil will come down with great wrath because he know he only got a short time left, man. Esau know he finna be on his way up out of here. So it don't matter what the hell Esau go do to you right now. Esau gonna be exterminated off the face of the earth, man. Thus saith the Lord. So he can get his little licks in right now, but hey, we already know what's gonna happen to Esau, man. And what's gonna happen to all the rest of these nations. Right? It says, Salah, verse 19, it says, but think not thou that takest in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt escape unpunished. It says, but the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had to the Lord. I'm gonna jump down a little bit. Verse 24, now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and a happy man, if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. So, hey, the youngest brother, he was trying to bribe him, right? He like, look, it says, if you turn away from the laws of your God, right? He said he made oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man, right? And that same spirit is going on in the earth today. Ain't nothing new under the sun. If Esau did that back then, he gonna do the same exact thing right now, right? It says, but when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing, the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this matter. So the mother, she talking to her youngest son, right? So Antiochus, he think that she finna go over there to him and say, look, baby, just do what he said. All your brothers was put to death. I want you alive. You my last son. I need you alive. He gonna give us riches. Just do what he said, right? But let's see what she finna tell the young man. It says, "Oh, my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise," right? So look what she told him. It said, "Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death." And how many mothers would tell their son after they done lost all the rest of their children? All of her sons just got put to death. And she telling her youngest son, she like, look, let me read that again. It says, "Take thy death." And she said, look, even if you got to get put to death, you got to keep God's commandments. All your brothers, they just got put to death for keeping the laws of the Lord. And you got to go through the same thing. How many mothers today would be put in the same situation? How many of them would say that? Hey, she could have told him anything. Like I said, hey, she could have said, hey, look, just do what he said. He gonna give us riches. Hey, just take the riches. All your brothers got put to death. I can't bear having another child taken from me. But she didn't say that, right? It says, "Take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren." Hey, man. Hey, this powerful. So we go, I'm going to jump a little bit. Now I'm going to read the next verse. It says, "While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses," right? "And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shalt not escape the hands of God." So like I said, hey, these damn devils, especially during the time of the Greeks, hey, these was Edomites, man, right? And they not go escape, right? It says, "For we suffer because of our sins. And though the living God be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man," so he called him a godless man, because we all know the Lord is only the God of the Israelites. And we can prove that, we could go to Joel 2:27. We can go to Luke 1:68. We can go to Psalm 81:1, right? The God of the Bible is only the God of the Israelites, right? It says, "But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked." He said he most wicked, man. "Be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of God. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgments of the Almighty, who seeth all things. For our brethren who now have suffered a short pain," so he said they suffered a short pain. So all that torture, all that getting put to death, that was a short pain. "Are dead under God's covenant of everlasting life." So you went through that little short pain, being tortured, getting your tongue cut out, right? getting put to death, getting burned alive, just to receive everlasting life. Which one of y'all is able to go through that? Right? Everybody say, yeah, I'll do that. That's me. But like I said, these are things you got to meditate on. Because anybody can say anything right now, but hey, it might not be that way when you actually put in that situation. It says, but thou, through the judgment of God, shalt receive just punishment for thy pride. Right? But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers. So he said we offer up our bodies and our life for the law of our fathers. That's why back in 1 Maccabees 3:21, he said we fight for our lives and our laws. Back in the book of Romans, he said you have to make your bodies a living sacrifice. Salakia. It says, beseeching God that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God. So we go, that's it on that. So we go into some more accounts. So like we've been getting into it, right? Fear not the sentence of death. We read about the account about Daniel, the 3 holy children, about Eleazar, about the brothers in 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter, right? So we go get some more precepts, right? So I'm gonna go to I'm gonna read this real quick. I'm gonna just get a couple more. So I'm gonna go to Esther, right? I'm gonna go to the book of Esther. I'm gonna go to Esther. Let me see. And I'm gonna read Esther 4 and 8 to get the context and see what was going on during this time. So this is the book of Esther, chapter 4 and verse 8. It says, also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them. That's talking about the Jews that was in that land, right? So if you're not familiar with this account, this going into the time of Esther, when the situation happened with Mordecai and Haman, because Mordecai didn't bow down to Haman, so Haman got mad and they put out a decree that in all the land, Haman, he told the king of Persia that it's people throughout the land that whose laws was contrary to the laws of the king, and he was talking about the Israelites that was throughout the land, right? So they put out a decree that it would be one day out of the month that they was given the order to put to death all the Jews, right? So it says, also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people. So Mordecai was telling Esther, he was like, look, because Esther, she was an Israelite, but she was given a position as being queen of Persia. So Mordecai was telling her, like, look, the Lord put you in this position for a reason. So at this point in time, you got the power to change this, right? So Mordecai telling Esther, like, she got to go do something about this, right? So I'm gonna go to verse 13, and I'm gonna read down to 16. So this Esther 4 and 13, it says, then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. So he telling her, like, look, don't think just because you in this position that you go escape, because all the rest of your people go get put to death, right? For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. So let's see what Esther said. Remember, this is a woman. This is a sister, right? But let's see what she said. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. Because during that time, you couldn't come in the king's court without the king's order or the king's commandment, or you'll be put to death, right? So it says, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. And that's another one of my favorite precepts, right? Hey, the sister said, if I perish, I perish. If I got to put my life on the line for my people, then that's what it's going to be, right? And that, like I said, that was a sister that said this, right? So this is not only for the brothers. This is for the brothers and the sisters, man. The sisters going to have to put their life on the line as well. This is not just about the men. You had situations where the women was in a position where they could have lost their life, right? So the sisters in the scripture, they had to put their life on the line as well. Esther had to put her life on the line. Judith had to put her life on the line. We just read about in the book of Susana. Susana could have been in a position where she had to lose her life. But hey, she said, I'd rather fall in the hands of the Lord, right? So this is not just only about the brothers. Hey, some of the sisters gonna have to put their life on the line, right? Right. So we go get a few more precepts, right? So hopefully, people can learn from these accounts and all these different situations. Because like I said, everybody didn't get put to death at that point in time, but everybody was in a position, even if they had to get put to death, they was ready to lose their life, right? So as you can see, our forefathers, they left examples, right? Even though they had to get put to death, they rather, get put to death keeping the commandments than going against the Lord. And you heard what they said in the book of Maccabees. They said, hey, we rather fall into your hands than fall into the hands of the Lord, right? And we're going to read about some more scriptures on that, right? So now I'm going to go to what I want. I'm going to go to Psalm 118 and verse 6. Because remember when we read in Matthew, it said, it's better to fall into the hands of, it said, fear not him which can kill the body, but fear the Lord which can kill the body and soul, right? So let's go into some more accounts. Let's go to the book of Psalm. I'm going to go to Psalm 118 and verse 6. So let's see, this is one of the Psalms of David, right? So let's see what our forefather David said. So this is the book of Psalm chapter 118 and verse 6. It says, the Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? Right? So David didn't fear what man can do unto him, man. He said, the Lord is on my side. What can man do unto me? Yeah, man can torture you. Man can put you to death. But like we've been reading, hey, man can kill your body, but only the Lord can kill your body and your soul, man. Right? It's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Right? So now I'm going to go to Hebrews 13 and 6. Right? This is the book of Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 6. It says, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. And that's what Daniel did. That's what the three holy children did. That's what the elder Eleazar did. That's what the brothers did in 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter, right? They boldly said, the Lord is my helper. Right? Hey, the three holy children told Nebuchadnezzar, they said, hey, look, hey, we not careful to answer you in this matter. Hey, the Lord that we serve, he able to deliver us out of your hands. Right? It said, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Hey, that's another one of my favorites. I'm going to read it again. This Hebrews 13:6. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Right? So in these last days, we not going to fear what man can do unto us, man. Hey, if we getting threatened to go against the laws of the Lord, then that's what it is. Right? So even though the Lord might deliver some brothers, you might be in a situation, Esau, he finna enforce this martial law. Some of us gonna be in concentration camps, man. Hey, but you might be in a position where the Lord, he might deliver you at that point in time. But everybody not gonna be delivered. Hey, you gotta have that mentality. Hey, the three holy children said, let me go back to that in Daniel. Because this is the most important part. Because everybody think the Lord just go deliver them. No, the Lord not go always just deliver you. You might be in a situation where you have to be an example to get put to death. Hey, some of us gonna have to be martyrs for the Lord. So let me go back to Daniel chapter 3. In verse 16, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. So he said, our God is able to deliver us, but this is the most important part to it. He said, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods. So he said, even if he don't, and we actually have to get put to death, then that's what it is, right? Hey, they was ready to get put to death. Like I said, that's one of the worst ways to get put to death. It's being burned alive in a fire, right? And like I said, it's plenty of other ways I'd rather get put to death than getting burned alive. That's one of the worst ways, right? But we go kind of close it up soon. So I'm gonna go to let me see what I want. So I'm gonna bring out a few more precepts and I'm gonna close it up. All right. Oh, I'm gonna bring out another one of my favorites, right? I'm gonna go to 2 Timothy 1:7. This is a classic. 2 Timothy 1:7. Right? Because David said, hey, the Lord is on my side. What can man do unto me, man? And we just read in Hebrews, right? Hebrews 13:6. Hey, we shall boldly say, right? Let's go back into it. And then I'm gonna go to 2 Timothy 1:7. So in Hebrews 13:6, it says, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. And this 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, for God have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So the Lord didn't give us the spirit of fear. So we can't be scared in these last days, man. Right? So now we go, I'm gonna get a few more. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna get to this a couple prophecies real quick. Cause like I said, these things that was going on, the Lord said ain't nothing new under the sun. Hey, these heathens was threatening our forefathers to put them to death to go against the name of the Lord. And they gonna do the same exact thing in these last days. So we go get a couple prophecies, right? So I'm gonna go to 2nd Esdras 16 and 70. So 2nd Esdras 16 and 70. And I'm gonna read down to 76. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16 and verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon all those that fear the Lord. Right? So in these last days, who's that talking about? That's talking about the brothers and sisters that's out here keeping the commandments right now, that know they Israelites, that be out on the streets teaching, right? It says, they shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. So we gonna have to be tried like gold in the fire, man. The same way our forefathers was tried, right? Hey, and it might not be easy. Like I said, hey, Esau, he got 1,000 ways to put you to death, man. If you don't know by now, Esau is the most sick and twisted person on this planet. And you see it through these damn movies, man. I don't know if y'all seen Esau got this movie, I believe it's called Hostel. Something like that. I believe they was somewhere across seas and they was kidnapping people and giving them these, these strange punishments, man. Torturing people. Movies like Saw. Hey, Esau, man, I don't know where Esau be coming up with some of this stuff, man. Hey, I used to watch those movies like Saw, and Esau, man, he got sick and twisted ways to put you to death. And I'm led to believe that some of those things that he put on the movies, he gonna really try it on some of us. Hey, on some of them Saw movies, man, it was this dude, he was tied up. He was laying flat on his back on the table, man. And Esau, he had like a damn axe that was going back and forth, right? Just back and forth, back and forth. And the dude, I forgot what he had to do, but he had like a minute or something to cut his hands off or something crazy like that. And if he didn't do it in the time, then the saw was gonna cut him in half. So slowly and slowly, the saw was coming down, or the axe was coming down, and it was chopping them up. Slowly and slowly chopping them up until it actually cut them all the way in half, right? Hey, Esau got 1,000 sick and twisted ways to kill you, man. And like I said, I'm led to believe some of these things he put on the movies, he gonna try to make that real life, right? So verse 74, it says, "Hear, O my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand." So the Lord is letting you know, in these last days, the days of trouble are at hand, right? "But I will deliver you from the same." So just like the Lord delivered Daniel, the 3 holy children, right? Hey, some of us didn't get delivered. Like we read about Eleazar, the young brothers, right? It says, "Be ye not afraid." And it's what we've been reading about. "I will not fear what man can do unto me." 2 Timothy 1 and 7, he said, "The Lord have not given us the spirit of fear." He said, "Be not afraid, neither doubt, for God is your God, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves." Right? So I'm gonna get a few more, right? Let me see. I'm gonna close up. Right? So I'm gonna go to Sirach 30 and 17. I'm gonna bring out a few more. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 30 and verse 17. It says, "Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness," right? So, hey, in these last days, the time we living in right now, hey, our forefathers, they was willing to get put to death. They was in captivity, the same way we in captivity right now. Ain't nothing great about this life that we live in. And if you think it is, you need to stop living in this damn matrix. You delusional as hell. If Esau come in right now, we have to be willing to get put to death. Because what is life? What is life right now today, right? If Esau threatened to take your life away, that's vanity. Just think about it. It says death is better than a bitter life. In this captivity right now, we live in a bitter life. If Esau threatened to put me to death, he actually doing me a favor, right? You know how much I hate having to go work on a damn plantation and take orders from a damn Edomite that's weaker than me, that's beneath me, that's below me, right? That's living in hell, man. This is torture. Living in this wicked world is torture. Esau stole this land, and the people that he stole this land from, we have to pay taxes. We have to pay a water bill, gas bill, phone bill. You got to pay for every damn thing, man. Every time I look up, it's another damn bill. I'm like, damn. Hey, sometimes I be saying stuff. I'm like, damn, didn't I pay for this already? Hey, Esau, hey, this world is wicked, man. Hey, this is a bitter life. So death is better than a bitter life. If Esau threatened to put me to death right now, all he doing is putting me out of my misery, right? So let me read. Let me go to Sirach 34 and 13. This Sirach chapter 34 verse 13. It says, "The spirit of those that fear the Lord shall live," right? "For their hope is in him that saveth them. Whoso feareth the Lord shall not fear nor be afraid, for he is his hope. Blessed is the soul of him that feareth the Lord, to whom doth he look, and who is his strength." Right? So you gonna be blessed if you fear the Lord in these last days and not fear man. Right? So we go close it up. Let me get I'm gonna go to what I want. Let me go to I'm gonna go to Revelation 2 and 10. I'm gonna get one more after that, and that's gonna be it. Right? Hey, cause it's a glorious thing to get put to death for the name of the Lord. And we go read about that. Right? So we go get this another one of my favorite precepts. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer." So our forefathers, they didn't fear none of those things that they was gonna suffer. Hey, the three holy children didn't fear that. Hey, like I said, they was finna get put into a burning fiery furnace, man. They was willing to get put to death to get burned alive. Hey, but they didn't fear. They said, hey, our Lord could deliver us, but even if he don't, we not worshiping your gods. If you go put us to death, you go burn us alive, then that's what it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It might hurt, but hey, we rather fall into your hands than fall into the hands of the living God. Right? So it says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison." And we all know who the damn devil is, right? If you don't know, we go let you know. The damn devil is the so-called white man, which are the Edomites according to the Bible. And if you can't see that, then you damn blind, right? It says, "Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death." So these are red letters, right? So these are the words of Christ. Christ telling you to be faithful unto death. But let's see why he told us to be faithful unto death. He says, "Be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." So that's what we all labor for. Every brother in this truth, even the sisters. Like I said, the sisters gonna have to put their life on the line as well. And we read about that in the book of Esther, the book of Susana, right? Even Judith had to put her life on the line, right? So you got to be faithful unto death, and the Lord go give you a crown of life, and that's what we all want. So I'm gonna get this last precept in Second Esdras. It's another one of my favorites. Second Esdras 2 and 42, right? And that's gonna be it for me. This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 2 and verse 42. It says, "I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns." So that's just what we was reading in Revelation 2:10. He said, "Be thou faithful unto death, and I'm gonna give you a crown of life." So he says, every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marvel at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, "Sir, what are these?" He answered and said unto me, "These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God. Now are they crowned and receive palms." Then said I unto the angel, "What young person is it that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands?" So he answered and said unto me, "It is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world." Then began I greatly to command them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Hey, and that's beautiful, man. And that's what we got to be in these last days, all brothers and sisters, man. We got to be those that's going to stand stiffly for the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, right? But, hey, that's it for me, man, right? So, like I said, Lord willing, brothers and sisters can learn something from this, right? These are some of the things I was meditating on, and the Lord put in my spirit to bring it out. So, that's going to be it for that. Again, I'm Brother Yashawan by Yahweh with Yahweh's camp. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. Kwam Yashala to the nation of Israel, and Shalom.